And I, like many of you, am looking to interact, to engage. So let's make the most of some time together because we have plenty of time apart. And I'm going to pass it over to Allison to open us up.
Great. Thanks, Kelsey. I am a mentor at SFU Venturelabs, which is a leading science and technology accelerator in Vancouver. And we deliver our own content and educational content for our client companies, but we also partner with experts like Kelsey at HubSpot. I've been doing marketing for about 20 years and long before inbound marketing was even a thing. So this is I've loved to see how marketing's evolved over the years. And I know that when I'm Googling and starting to develop my own content, HubSpot comes up frequently for excellence in delivering materials on content marketing strategy. To introduce you to Kelsey, she got her start working in a nonprofit world with organizations like Teach for America and City Year. She launched a startup program each year and built out a self-sustaining infrastructure. Eventually, she left that role to complete her MBA and pursue leadership training at Harvard. In 2016, she launched her own business, and she's in Boston. She's passionate about helping startups grow and scale, and now provides coaching and guidance to founders and provides scholarships to qualifying startups through her work with HubSpot for Startups program. And with that introduction, I'm going to turn over the next probably 55 minutes to Kelsey. I hope you enjoy the content.
Thank you, Allison. Appreciate the introduction there. Well, hopefully we've given everybody some time to get logged on here. Hopefully everybody can see my screen. Otherwise, you're just going to hear a lot of me talking. As I said, make sure that you are jumping in the chat, engaging with us. As we said, this session is presented by HubSpot for Startups. A couple of things we do in this program is, one, we provide educational resources and training like this one. We also have a software platform where our CRM is free. We also have a sales, marketing, and service hub that integrates with 300 other softwares. So that way it's able to be kind of your one-stop shop for your business. And through this program, through partnerships like that with SFU Labs, we are able to offer software scholarships to people in our community. So I'll give you a little bit more information at the end about how to apply. But if you go to hubspot.com/startups, you're able to apply and select SFU as your partner, and we can get you going. But today we're going to be talking about how to establish your marketing foundation. Hopefully that's what you're here to learn a little bit more about. And we're going to get going. A little bit more about how HubSpot supports our startups and entrepreneur community. Not only do we have programs like this, but we also have HubSpot Ventures, where we invest in startups that align with our mission. And we have HubSpot for Entrepreneurs, where we help to build and scale businesses through offering education and support like this, and also offering software scholarships. And a little bit more about what we're going to be talking about today. So first, I wanted to open up with talking about the current situation, what's going on, how best to adapt to our current climate. And then we're going to talk a bit about buyer personas, generating awareness, dive into SEO, talk about crafting your message. I know one of the things that people have asked for is like, how do I convert my web traffic? Let's talk about it. We're going to talk about how to automate the process, how to know what's working, and then we're going to open up for some Q&A. So I hope everybody's ready, have your chat window open, ready to rock. You guys already know a little bit about me, but I'm really excited to be able to work with you today and hopefully share some tools and resources that are going to increase your success in the marketing front. So let's start off here with how to adapt your marketing approach in the current environment. So HubSpot, we have the benefit of having 70,000 wonderful customers all around the world. And what that enables us to do is in times like this, we're able to see trends and are able to see how the market is reacting. Granted, this is our experience with our customer base, but I wanted to share some of that data and insights to be able to tell you how other people are pivoting during this time. And hopefully that can give you some tips to feel really confident in your approach during this time. So a couple of data points to talk about. So first of all, we're seeing in the COVID environment that so email sequences being sent are 50 to 60% higher. So more emails are going out. I'm sure that's not a surprise to you. Your inbox is probably flooded like mine. The good news though is that we are seeing an uptick in open rates of those emails as well. So even since March, we're seeing a 25% uptick in emails that are open. So this ratio is still a little bit imbalanced from how many are being sent, how many that are being open, but we're seeing more overall engagement. So email marketing works. This is a great time to be thinking about your marketing, investing in your marketing. You guys are on the right track by being in this session. In addition, we are seeing that live chat is being used 7% more. So we are seeing that this is a great strategy to be implementing right now if you're not already. We're also seeing that customers are researching brands more online than even a year ago. So from last year to this year, there's a 13% increase in overall website traffic. And we're also seeing that customers are initiating more of these conversations than they were previously. So what is it that we do with all this information? One, focus on empathy. When you're thinking about your messaging right now, you want to be sensitive. And that doesn't just mean opening up a call with, hey, COVID is going on. How are you doing? How's your family? Now, segue to business. What you should be doing is trying to figure out how to be helpful, figuring out how people are adapting. Some people are saying, I don't know how to, I'm not sure what's going on with my customers right now. I'm not sure what they need. Set yourself up as a resource for them. So you could say, say like, I'm seeing this is going on with my other customers. This is how they're adapting to it. How is that going for you? What is it that you're struggling with, or where can we be helpful? I know one of the people I spoke to the other day had decided to get people together and say, this is a B2B business, and say, all right, I know I have this subset of customers that are all struggling with X right now. And even if it's not something that you can solve for, invite them in and say, let's have a Zoom hour. Let's talk and see and problem solve together. And in that way, they're able to position themselves. You can position yourself as a leader. You can also get insights into your customers and what's going on for them. And you can provide help. So that way you're setting yourself up that even if you're not able to kind of upsell them or any of those things right now, you're going to be the best position to have had that relationship and be able to launch that into financial return once all of this is over. So that's one thought about how you can be approaching it. You should be thinking about how to deepen your bond with your current customers. How can you forge those relationships that are going to help give you that revenue when we're out of this, or to be able to increase your revenue with them now? This is a great time also to get referrals, because you've been cultivating those relationships. And also you should be leaning into education. So HubSpot's marketing blog has had a 40% increase in subscribers over the last 2 months. This is because people are looking for education. People are looking to upskill right now. So if you are thinking about what type of things you can provide for your audience, think about how you can help to educate them. And focus on those long-term relationship building over product promotion. So there will be a time to promote your product. Right now, that's not what people are leading with. So let's talk about who you should be talking to. So one, I would highly recommend take a consultative selling approach. One resource, by the way, that I really, really love, it's a book called The Challenger Sale. So if you're also focusing on your sales approach, definitely check that out. It's a great overview of consultative selling approaches and how to use this. And I would be prioritizing your outreach to focus either on industries that have been minimally impacted or that are transforming really quickly to be able to meet new challenges of what's going on right now. And also look, are there other industries that maybe you hadn't thought of before that are now relevant because of the current climate? And I would prioritize your outreach in that way. So with all of that going on, what should you be focusing on? we see that most of our customers are focusing on either things that are going to give them short-term returns, or either things that are going to get them return within 1 month, or things that are going to give them return when this is, over and we're starting to go back to a new normal. This is not the time to be focusing on those like Q2 overall goals, because it's too unpredictable right now to really know what to do. So that's kind of the time frame you should be looking at. And some of the things that we see brands focusing on are developing online resources, social media tactics, a lot of email marketing, virtual events, and focusing on customer retention. So one thing that we've been hearing consistently is retention is the new acquisition. I think that's true at any point, that focusing on your retention strategies is wildly important, but especially right now. And for a lot of you that are entrepreneurs, you've spent a lot of time developing your branding, developing your marketing materials. You need to adapt them to the current climate if you haven't already. You need to be able to acknowledge what's going on, and be able to tweak that messaging so that way it's not coming across as tone deaf. So when you are thinking about your messaging, you want to be thinking about, this is a quote that's from one of our customers, where they say that we're embracing moral leadership by acknowledging the world is different, people are hurting, and ensuring that we're being in service to our clients, our customers, and frontline workers. We're shifting our investment from advertising to empathy, philanthropy, and facilitating community connection and inspirational content. So that's some pretty broad buckets, but I think this is great advice for how to approach what content to put out right now. Another thing that we're seeing is across the board is focusing on the why. So some of you are in industries that are more impacted by this, some less. Regardless, focusing on the why is a great choice. This particular founder, is founder of DIY MFA, and they focus on helping writers and artists. That's one of the things that can be really hard hit during economic crises. Sorry, let me close this. That can be really hard hit during economic crises. So they are focused on reminding their audience why what they are doing matters, and to be able to inspire them to move on. As I said before, yeah, retention is the new acquisition. So aside from pivoting marketing tactics, we see a lot of people that are working to improve the customer experience to be able to retain more customers, and whether that means just retain your current customers or spreading that word of mouth, that when people are researching you now and when they're interested in you now, that you are going to get more referrals down the line, and other people that may not be ready to purchase now will be more prone to purchase from you later. And when we look at how businesses are prioritizing the customer experience, how they're actioning on that, they are providing discounted products, services, online courses. To give you an example, at HubSpot, a couple of things that we've done in response to this is that we have taken some of our paid features and moved them down into free. We have discounted our lower levels of software. We've been more flexible with our terms. With our agency partners, we paid commissions in advance to help with cash flow. So these are things that you can be thinking about as a business to be able to kind of endure what's going on right now, and to be able to help your customers and position yourself in a place to be able to retain more and to be able to improve their experience. Another thing to be thinking about is empathizing with your clients, and sometimes that means not always pitching to them. So the best long-term strategy right now might be looking at some of your clients that are more affected and saying, like, now isn't the time to pursue this. We are here for you, and we'll be here for you when it is the time to pursue this. So that's a great way to lead with empathy. And you want to be able to kind of always acknowledge the current crisis and what's going on, but figure out how you can move alongside of them. So this is an example from one of our startups in Seattle. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about inbound methodology. We have a whole academy course on inbound. We have certifications you can take. If there's something you're more interested in, definitely delve into that. You can get kind of a badge for your LinkedIn to show that you've completed it. But for the purposes of this presentation, really broadly, inbound is a strategic framework that is coined by HubSpot and that we use with our business, and is a strategy that we're going to be talking about today, where we have such a flood of marketing in our world right now. We have all kinds of things that interrupt your day, whether it's cold calls or pop-ups or, you know, all these types of things. Inbound is a methodology where we work to attract more people to us rather than interrupt their day. So it's providing things that are helpful, that people want, and are the ways that people want to engage with you so that they will come to you to purchase, not for you to be hounding them. We see that these leads convert at a much higher rate. It gets you many more qualified leads. And we're going to talk a little bit about how to approach this. So next, we're going to be talking about how we generate awareness. So delving into SEO, social media, ads, and then how we convert that traffic as well. All right, get your chat windows open. First engagement piece. We're going to be talking about persona development. And we're going to go into a little bit of the, high level stuff. Then we're going to delve deep really quickly. So what I want to know from you guys are, who are your customers? Tell me as much detail as you possibly can. I am happy to give you a shout out. I want to know, not only the demographic information, but the psychographic information. What are their age? What is their job role? What is the pain that they are having that you are solving for? What are they hoping to achieve? Let's see who can jump in. Quick question that I am seeing on there while you guys are jumping in the chat to respond. HubSpot training for outbound campaigns. I would really say, look at the inbound certification. Look at that academy, because that will also teach you how to approach some of your other campaigns in a way where you're going to be able to generate a little more traffic for yourself. But also feel free to send me an email afterwards, and I can help you with some more specific things. But give me a little bit here on your personas. Who is it that you are selling to in your business? What do you know about them? What is the level of detail that you can get to with this? So people that, sleepers, no trouble sleeping, and people that sleep enough. Okay. Senior managers, young scientists, they're data and evidence driven, like efficiency and accuracy, follow strict regulations to prevent liabilities. Great. Tell me, I want you to dig in, like, what social media sites do they spend their time on? How senior are they in their career? And CEO, CSO, what have their experiences been with your solution in the past? People who can't sleep. All right. And whose sleep is disrupted. Okay. And that's pretty broad. So I think a really important part of talking about personas is not only who is your persona, but who isn't your persona. Like, who do you not want to sell to? Who is not what you're looking for? Okay, so we have some a kind of broad array, but what I'll say when it comes to persona development is that I'll be honest. When I first was learning about this, I was like, look, like, I'm a startup. I'm wearing 500 hats myself. I don't have time to do this like philosophical persona development thing. It's not a great use of time. Then I realized how having a really well-refined persona helps me dramatically to figure out how to allocate my time and my resources effectively to get the most return. So if some of you are feeling that way right now, that's totally understandable. This is one of those lessons that I promised I would tell you about how I learned the hard way. So to go really broad level for 2 seconds, this is what a buyer persona is. It's semi-fictional, so you have some bits that are really based on who your customers currently are, and it's also a generalized representation. And it's made up of both demographic and psychographic data. So when I advise startups, one of the things that I find the most is that people have not built out their buyer personas. And it's not just thinking about who is it that would value your solution, but who is it that you're talking to? What is their buying process? Because that's part of what you need to find out about your buyer persona. How do they research your solution? Where do they research it at? Through what channels? How do they like to find that information? So a lot of people may have kind of this age, location, the demographic stuff, but not always the psychographic stuff. And also think about what are their motivations and challenges. Because when you are crafting your marketing message, you are crafting it to be able to say, like, this is what I am responding to. This is the questions that you have. And this is how I'm going to be able to help you. I know that you are aspiring to X. How can I make sure that my solution is going to help you get there? This is the difference between just throwing something at the wall to see if it sticks and crafting your message for what it is that somebody really wants to hear. And a little bit about why we create it. We've talked about it a bit, but being able to create targeted content, be able to attract the right people. When you look at things like Facebook ads, you are able to target demographic data that if you wanted to get so specific that you were like, I am looking for English and French speaking young fit mothers of school age children in the Boston area, you can do that. So you can get wildly specific if you want to, but you have to know who you're going for. Because if you're just like, it could be anybody. Yeah, it could be anybody. But how are you going to hone in on the people that are most likely to need your resources? So let's talk a bit about who HubSpot's core buyer personas are. This is Marketing Michelle. Now, when I first saw this, I was a little intimidated, to be honest, because I'm like, this is an incredible amount of information. How would I ever have this much information about my prospect? I'll give you some tips in this. One, I'll send around afterwards. We have a great tool where you can make your own buyer persona. But when you're looking at this is the level of detail that you should be getting to with your buyer persona. And I'm willing to bet most of you have some broad level data. This is the gold standard, what you should be shooting for. So you want to know, like, what is their experience with the solutions that you've had so far? What is, how do they try and buy these things? What is their purchasing process? Why would she choose you? What is she aspiring to? What are some of the other resources that she uses? And who does she rely on to make these decisions? This is great. It doesn't mean that you can't sell to people outside of this persona, but it tells you who your target market is so that you can hone in on it. When you look at Marketing Michelle, one of the ways that we get to this level of granularity is to not only building out your buyer persona, but also talk to the customers that you already have. How did they find you? Where did they find you? Where do they typically look for solutions like yours? Who do they talk to? How would they have liked to have found out about you? And when would they have liked to have found out about you? And also, if they found out about you sooner, what would that have enabled them to do? These are the things that you're going to be able to take and be able to keep tweaking and refining this until it's something that you can really use rather than just a great overall idea. So hopefully that answers some of our questions around buyer personas. Let's talk a bit about how we generate awareness. All right, so we are going to talk about how you get found. Now, I would love to know who on here, get up the chat, who on here considers yourself a marketer or who has a background in marketing and sales. So let me know who has this background, and also I would love to know who has a website up and running. All right, so we see some people with background here. How many of you guys have a website up and running for your business? Okay, website and you're running. Marketing and sales for 30 years. Timothy, you might be doing this next session, teaching us a few things. We have a website running. Okay. And it seems like we have a variety of experience and looking to learn. So there is this idea that if you build it, they will come. You are in such a rush to like, hey, let me get my website out there. And once it's out there, it's going to start happening for me. This is sometimes true, but often isn't. So you need to do the work of getting found. So let's talk about how to do that. When you think of search, you think of Google, right? So when, before, if you were going to search, let's say 2-3 years ago, if I wanted to search something like, I wanted the abbreviations for all 50 states, I would go in and I'd type in state abbreviations, keywords. Now that I have my Alexa downstairs, I have my Google Home, I have my cell phone that I'm talking to, I'm asking queries in much more conversational forms. So that means that the Google search algorithm has been updated to reflect that, to understand conversations, synonyms, things like that more. So what that has meant for search is that in the past, you could own maybe 2-3 major keywords, and that's going to make you a player in the game for your industry. It's not like that anymore. And it is that the marketplace for buying those keywords is more expensive now than ever. So in terms of, it's also more competitive, so those keywords cost more. I should refine that. So what you should be doing is that you should be focusing on long tail keyword searches, by which I mean, I would be searching for what are the abbreviations to all 50 states. You can buy that long tail keyword variation and be able to show up much higher, much quicker than if you just bought state abbreviations. What that requires, though, is that if you are going to own all of those long tail keywords, then you need to have a good idea of who your buyer persona is, because you need to know how they're even going to phrase these questions. What type of questions are they going to ask related to your product, and how are they going to phrase that? Because that's what's going to enable you to make the most of your SEO strategy. So let's talk a little bit about how search has changed. There's been 3 major changes in the last few years. So the first is a change from answers to journeys. So Google has gotten smarter and realizes that you're not going to sit down and plan your entire vacation to Costa Rica in one sitting. You're going to do this in a series of sessions. You're going to do this in a journey. And what that means is that when I go into search, when I'm searching something around Costa Rica, it's going to pull up all the websites I've already visited, because it's most likely that I might want to go back to those. And it's going to add in a few new ones. So it's going to be a little bit more biased towards things you've already seen before. The second is that they want to go from queries to query less. So how can they predict what it is that you are trying to search for before you even search for it? So if you've already been Googling for your vacation in Costa Rica, the next thing that you might see when you log in is, best restaurants in San Jose. So Google is going to be looking for, what websites have the most authority on that. SEO is really important here, because Google is trying to make these recommendations for you. The next thing that is really changing is a shift from text to visual answers. So they are incorporating a lot more visual, but also Google wants to understand what type of search is your buyer persona actually looking for. So what kind of answer are they looking for? Are they looking for a picture? Are they looking for a video? Are they looking for an infographic, a shopping list? So you need to not only be thinking about, what do I want to share with my customers, but what is it my customers want from me? Where do they want it from me? And what is the format in which they want to receive it? Because you don't want to be swimming, against the current when you are trying to get the message about your brand out there. So this has meant that authority on the web is an even more important signal than ever. So let's talk a bit about strategies to get us there. All right, so topic clustering. Who has heard of topic clustering? So drop it in the chat. Who's heard about this? That is question number 1. Question number 2 is, this also doesn't have to relate to blogs, but it does relate to blogs a bit. So who has a blog and who feels that it's effective for them right now? So who's heard of topic clustering and who has a blog that they feel is effective for them right now? jump in the chat, let me know so that we can kind of cruise into this next section and talk about some strategies to be able to improve your SEO. All right, looks like we already have one person in here. You have a blog post, it gets a lot of traffic, but don't know how to convert it. Yes, let's talk about this. I would say we're going to go through a couple different things, but one of the biggest mistakes that I see on blogs over and over and over again is not having a call to action. So you have people that are coming to your blog, but you're not telling them what to do with it. Do you want them to like? Do you want them to share? Do you want them to subscribe? Do you want them to sign up for a consultation? Every blog post that you have should have what you are asking of them. So that way you capture that traffic. And we're going to go in some really specific ideas about how to do that. So we have one answer. What about anybody else here? Who's heard of topic clustering and who has a blog that they feel is really working for them? Or don't you? So feel free to drop on in. But let's start to talk about topic clustering. This is a method of organizing the information on your site. So that way people, well, one, so web crawlers are able to find it. So Google has the job of sifting through all of the web pages that are out there and figuring out what is the most important information and how is it all connected. Help them do that job. You work with Google, not against Google. So one of the ways that you do that is through the topic clustering method. So that means that in the center here, you'd have a pillar page. So this is a broad overview of a bunch of different topics. So this would be, let's say for HubSpot for Startups, this page might be starting your small business or helping small business owners. So that might be our pillar page where we go into like broad, like these are all the things you should maybe be thinking about as a startup. And then each one of these is a question, is a topic off of there. So it might be like legal resources for startups. It might be what are good communication tools for startups. It might be something like how startups can get more funding. So each one of these things is a blog or another page off of my pillar page that goes more into depth. So pillar page, overall info, and then each of those blogs, each of those other subjects are clusters that you are going to put all of your information, the deep dive about your content there. Now these little blue bars means that I am linking to them from my pillar page and I am backlinking to that pillar page. So I am showing the web crawlers how to find it, how this information is related. And what that also means is that when any one of these pages performs well, it will move the whole group up in authority and ranking, is that all of the pages will perform better together. Now, to give you an example of how this works, well, first of all, if you are looking to learn more about topic clustering, because we're going very broad level, feel free, Google HubSpot topic clusters. You will find great video, a quick article. It will help you with this strategy. But one example that I like to look at to show how this really works is that if you do a Google search for traffic cones, you're going to have a few things come up. The first thing that comes up is trafficsafetystore.com. After that, it's Home Depot and Amazon. Now, most of you guys, we've heard of Home Depot and Amazon. We haven't heard of Traffic Safety Store. How does Traffic Safety Store rank higher than Google and Amazon? I don't think that they have the marketing budget that Google and Amazon does. What they do have is a good strategy. So this is their pillar page. They have thought about their persona and the questions that they want to find out. What makes a cone legal for road use? When are traffic cones used? What are the different sizes? So they have figured out what are the questions that they're going to ask, and they have organized their site in a way where this is the pillar page. But if you want more in-depth information, you can just click into any one of these and those go off into my topic clusters to be able to teach you more about these specific areas. This has made them have authority and rank within their search. So it shows that whatever your budget, whatever your size, wherever you're starting, they don't have 5 million pages built out. You just need to focus on quality over quantity and good strategy. So That's a little bit about topic clustering. Hopefully that made sense to people and is helpful. What we're going to talk about next is choosing your network. So we talked about creating great content. You need to know, where does your persona live? Not just where do you want to sell to them. So where are they looking for your solution, and putting your info there in the right way. Don't post the same info across all of your different social channels. That's not helpful. I'm not going to follow you on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter if you're going to post the same exact thing on each one of them. Different channels for different audiences. For example, if you're in LinkedIn, you want to be focusing more on, this isn't a place to be salesy, but it is a place to show thought leadership and to be sharing fresh ideas. This is a place where you might be posting your, white pages and links that you have there, whereas Instagram, you're posting photos and behind the scenes and humanizing your brand. So each one of these channels has a different method, and you need to be going with the channel at the time that makes sense. Now, when we talked about earlier, I said, know who your buyer persona is and who it isn't. So that way you can focus on, maybe your solution applies to a broad array of people, but these are the people that are really going to need it, that are really going to get traction. Give you a good example of who's done that and somebody who picked their channel very well. So when PayPal started, PayPal knew that it's, their buyer persona could be anybody making purchases or selling things on the internet. That's huge. They would never get anywhere as a startup with their budget if they're just targeting everybody that buys and sells on the internet. But what they did do is they said, okay, well, I'm going to focus on where I can get the most traction. Who's doing the highest volume of selling, and where are they doing that at? And they picked high value sellers on eBay. And so PayPal said, I'm going to focus the most there in the channel they're already living in, and then I'm going to expand out from there. PayPal is a household name now, and they are spread across many, many different apps, many different websites. This is a good example of a good persona, good targeting on the right channel at the right time. So we talk a little bit about social media. Again, this is really broad, but if you want like in-depth tips and tricks on social media, if you Google like HubSpot Instagram tips, HubSpot Facebook tips, we have a in-depth user guide for all of the major channels and of how to use them to market yourself. So if you want to delve deep into that, go ahead and do that. In the slides afterwards, I'm also happy to share a link to a brand awareness webinar that I did last week. And that way you can go a little bit more in depth with some of that information. But this is essentially what I was saying. Use your channels correctly. So this is an example within HubSpot. You're able to schedule all of your posts within our software. So plan it out. Make sure that you are planning out. I would always say a month and ahead. So that way you always have new content. You always have them going across your different channels, and at times that makes sense rather than being reactive. You don't want to be posting, trying to get awareness about your brand at 8 o'clock on a Saturday night when most people are out. Maybe not currently, but usually most people are out to dinner and spending time with family and friends. So you can auto schedule for the times when people will most open them. So going really broad, let's talk about ads. Ads are a great strategy if you are building them on top of a solid SEO strategy. Ads work for you, but they will only work for you as long as you are investing in them versus having solid SEO. So you want to be able to, your SEO is your evergreen strategy. This is what's going to be bringing people to you regardless of your spend that month. And ads are the icing on the cake. So a couple of things to look at here. One, looking at making sure that your value proposition, however short, is within your ad. Being able to say, like, this is who I'm targeting, this is what I can do for you. And knowing where your buyer is at in their purchasing funnel. So are they early on that they are kind of looking to just learn information, or are they ready to make a purchase and ready to be transactional? So if you have a solid CRM, where you're able to track how they've engaged with you and what platforms they've engaged with you so far, what content. You're able to target your ads to be able to reach them with a targeted message at the right time for them. So one of the things you guys asked about in the beginning, you're like, okay, I have a website, I have a blog. How do I use this to convert? That's what we're going to do now. So let's talk about how they can find you, how we can qualify the people that are coming to your site. Get your chat windows open. Next question coming up to you. So this is a really important equation. You need to add more value than you extract. So what would somebody need to give you in order to get your email address? Throw it in the chat. What is it that somebody would need to provide for you in order for you to give them your email address? Think about all the times that you put in your email address online. What types of things have you put in your email for? Let me know. I feel like I'm asked for my email address all the time. All right, let's see what you guys got. A potential solution for my problem? Yeah, absolutely. Education, how-to content, promoting upcoming events. Yeah, absolutely. Like something small. You're able to, a lot of people might say discounts, coupons, like I'll give you my email for that. What about for you to give your social security number? What would somebody need to provide you with to give them your social security number? All right. Yeah, a lot of trust. What particularly would they need to be providing for you to be like, yeah, I'll give you my social security number? It would have to be something pretty high value. What's high value enough for you? Throw it in the chat. What do you got? Is there any circumstances? Okay, so have to be a credible institution. You wouldn't give it to anyone. That's fair too. I think what I hear from people a lot is like, you know, for you to be able to give something that high value, they have to give you something incredibly high value. It might be a job. So I provide my social security number for a job. I provide it to the IRS, but it has to be something that is incredibly high value. So the point is that people make mistakes a lot when they want to extract more value than they add. When you have an online form, when you have a web page and you are asking for more information from somebody, then they value what you are giving. And that's when we see a lot of friction. That's when we see a lot of fall off. So let's talk about what that really looks like. Converting through landing pages. Now, one thing to know about the difference between a website page and a landing page is that a landing page is, from your blog or your call to action, it will navigate you here and it will not have any other links to outside pages. It won't have links to your about me section, to your homepage, nothing. Your landing page is meant to convert and it's meant to do one thing. So I don't want to distract you from anything. I don't want chatbots, anything else on there. So this is an example. I'm going to give you a couple examples from my friend who is a private vegan chef in Boston. And we created a website and some landing pages for her. I'm going to show you how we use them to convert. So on her blog, so you want to have a series of blog posts targeted towards different stages in your buyer's journey. So when they're in the info gathering stage, when they are in the in the comparing stage, when they're trying to learn more, and also when they are trying to make their decision. So you want to have different blog posts to each one of those things. And it shouldn't all be about, push your product, push your service. It's also about thought leadership. So a lot of you who are in like the B2B space, but I mean everybody, but I talk to people a lot who are highly technical in the B2B space, that are startups that are looking to have that credibility. It's great to be able to build that through your blog, to be able to show the knowledge that you have. This is leading with your value and being able to show them. But in each of your blogs, you need to have that call to action. What do you want them to do? What are you going to give them? How are you going to capture their information? So on her blog, the first one is, tips, or it's like benefits of having a healthy, a vegan lifestyle. What are, some of the reasons why to do that. And on the blog, when you get to the end, what am I going to give you to get your information? So it says, if you'd like some free recipes from our private chef, click here. You click here, you get to this landing page. Once you get to this landing page, it's going to ask for some basic information. I'm going to ask for your name, your email, and then figure out where the majority of your meals come from, because this is going to help me start to qualify you. If you have a CRM, all of this information gets fed into our CRM. So every time they engage with our page, with a chatbot, with our social media, anything, it's all linked back to this, so that when you're ready to make a sale, you can go in and say all the ways they've interacted with you, what they valued, and all the information about them, so you know if they are your market or not. So you're going to get some basic information to qualify them here. And then if I'm weaving in my email marketing, the way this would work is then I send them an email that says, hey, here's a link to your recipes, because you know that just clicking here and downloading it, they might not remember later where they got it from. Make sure that you're in their inbox. Make sure that they can search you. So send in their inbox, like, here's a link to the recipes. By the way, if you like this, you might also be interested in next blog post. That next blog post might be more towards the weighing your option stage and helping them figure that out. Like, what are different ways that I can get plant-based meals? You know, is it a private chef? Is it a meal delivery service? Is it knowing these great local restaurants? So, and then from there you could say, okay, you went into my next blog. And you get to the bottom, and I also want to give you something to extract a little more information. Would you like some of our, tried and true plant-based substitutes? So if you've been vegetarian, vegan, it's hard to find good substitutes. Here's our list of what our chefs like the most. Click here for this free list. So they click there, and we get some more information. Where do they live? Because my friend only works with people in Boston. So this is another way to qualify. And do they have the budget to be able to use her service? So you're asking a little bit more, you're sending a little bit more, and then you can, shoot them over an email, be like, hey, here it is in downloadable form. Also, check out this next blog post. So when you look at this, this is all automation. This is all ticking along without you. So if you have this set up, you can easily set this up with 3 blog posts using a CRM and using email marketing. And these are all tools that you can use within our platform to be able to nurture that prospect all the way from when they first land on your blog to when they're ready to purchase. So landing pages are great, but landing pages are kind of, they're more traditional. The way of the future is chatbots. So we saw that there's a 7% uptick in since post-COVID, that people are using chatbots more and more. I set this up in maybe 15 minutes on my first week at HubSpot. And this is able to qualify people for her. This all, again, feeds back into the CRM. So all of this will be linked to the contact record, so you can share all the information, house it all in one place. This is able to qualify for her and be able to ask them these questions, so that way, one, this prospect is being cultivated, but 2, when it's time to take that next step, she has all the information she needs, and also knows if she's spending her time well, or if this is somebody that is not her target demographic. So we already kind of jumped into automation. So the automated piece is really important. What's also important is that once you get them through that marketing flywheel, to be able to be ready to act on it, because 30 to 50% of deals go to whoever responds first. So you want to make sure that you have automation in place, like within our system. As soon as somebody clicks on, that they want a consultation, that they want to call, make sure that you have a way to automatically notify your reps, or maybe it's yourself at this point, or maybe it's your business partner, but make sure that you have a way to notify and act on that right away. Now, it's great to have a strategy. This is important, to know your channels, to be able to automate it. So these are all the different components that you need to just kind of get a basic marketing funnel. But how do you know if it's working? Because we know we rely more and more on data. And how do you make sure that with your limited time and resources, you're allocating them well? So there's many different platforms that you can use to be able to collect data. These are examples within HubSpot. So have something that you are going to be able to monitor your SEO. See if your strategy is working. Are you getting more impressions? Are you getting more clicks? How long are people staying on your page, and where are you ranking when you show up? So have a way to measure that. Don't expect, a lot of people expect like a hockey stick effect, and that, as you start going, it's going to go up and up and up. Generally, it doesn't work like that. SEO works like many things in life, peaks and valleys. You just want to make sure that your overall trends are going up and to the right, but there's going to be ups and downs there. Some of them explainable, some of them not. It's also important for you to be able to track your traffic, know where it's coming from. So if you don't have this level of granularity with your page, then you don't know what channels to invest more in. So is it coming from organic traffic, people that are actually typing it in, that are searching for you specifically? Is it coming from referrals, from social media, from paid search, social? This tells you where should I invest more and where should I tweak my strategy. And one of the things I personally really love about this is that it will also show you out of each one of these channels how many people actually convert into customers. So why this is important to house this in the same system as your CRM is that it's going to be able to track, where are your customers actually coming from? Because it's great to have impressions. It's great to know how many likes and clicks you have. But if they're not converting to customers eventually, then you might be attracting a lot of attention, but it might not be the attention that you want. So this is a great way to be able to see what's working and what's not for you, as well as making sure that you're monitoring your social. So where is your audience? These are the channels that you should probably be investing more in. Which posts are getting the most attention, the most interactions, the most clicks, the most views. Then what channel to be focused on. Another thing I think is really important when it comes to email automation, and this is a tool that I personally really love, is being able to see what percentage of your emails are opened, what percent are clicked through. And this is in general, this is when you have a sequence, when you have a template, what's working for you. So when I open this up, if I see that I don't have a lot of opens on this email, then I know that it can be one of two things really. So it's either my subject line isn't engaging enough, or it is that my first couple sentences are not engaged enough because they can see that in the preview. So I know that that's where I need to focus on fixing in order to get people to open. And if it's not that, if I have a high open rate but not a high click rate, then it's the content inside. Maybe I'm not being clear enough with what people want and need. So good question. So how much confidence do you have in opens, and how many false opens are there typically? I don't actually know the answer for that off the top of my head. Opens is one indicator. So there's so many indicators that you can get from this. But I would say the number of false opens that you have is probably likely the same across, emails in general. So this is a good comparative tool for you amongst the different emails that you have to be able to figure out. I would say that that's probably a consistent thing that would be coming across. So this is one tool for you to be able to see if that's helpful for you. We're going to come back to some more questions during the Q&A. So we're going to talk just a little bit about some of your takeaways. So focusing on inbound methodology, this is how you attract, engage, and delight your customers. Personas are really going to help you figuring out what content to create, where it should live. Dig deep into that persona early on and keep refining it. That's wildly important. SEO, make sure you're focused on phrases, not just keywords. Topic clustering is a great method, especially as a startup. This is something that you can more easily do right now than if you already have a massive web page with thousands of blog posts already built out. So now is actually your time. And you make sure that the value that you add is greater than the value that you extract. So that is a little bit of our takeaways. A great quote from our founder and CEO is that to grow your business, you must match the way you market your products with the way your prospects learn and shop for your products. So again, this was put on by HubSpot for Startups just to show you really quickly through SFU Labs, you're able to be part of this program. You just go HubSpot.com/startups or /entrepreneurs. You can click to apply. It takes 2 minutes. And then you can access some of the additional education and software scholarships that you have through these partnerships. Additionally, one more thing that I want to share with you that I think is a helpful resource during this time is that we have our Adapt 2020 educational series. So this is all of those trends that I was talking about early on, the statistics around what the market is doing right now and how it's reacting are updated week on week here. So you can see what are some of the things that other startups are doing that are being helpful. We have live events and webinars like this to be able to talk you through some of those skills, and content toolkits that you can download to be able to action on them. Let's jump back to the presentation. I'm going to open it up for Q&A. Okay, let's see. So looking at how many buyer journeys should you have on your website, it can get really complicated really quickly. Rowan, I think how many buyer journeys really depends on, I don't think that it depends on how many customer segments you have. So how many distinct buyer personas are really different and really valuable for you. So like with anything, there's definitely an art to the level of granularity that you get to with this. There is, if you make it too granular, you'll have way too many different journeys. I would say at least if you're B2B and B2C, if you're both, you know, you want to segment those out. Otherwise, it really just depends on what your segments are. Is there such thing as good open rates? That's a really good question. So I would say that if you are, I mean, it depends on what you're sending, and it depends on your industry a bit. Usually, if I see above 30%, I think that that's pretty good. If you anything below that, I would be kind of questioning: is this personalized enough? Is this something that's really helpful? In B2B, what ratio do you expect to see between inbound and outbound leads? Timothy, that's a really great question. And I think that there's a lot of factors that play into that. So one, it is, you know, I think that if the more inbound leads you can get, the better. It's always better to get more inbound leads. They convert higher. There is less work for you to be able to kind of get them there once you already have your materials out there. But how your balance of inbound to outbound might change based on the maturity of your company. So some people focus heavily on inbound in the beginning, and then like for HubSpot, we were all inbound and then just started to weave in more outbound as we went along. Really depends on your business case. I would say getting a good inbound strategy is something that happens over time, and you want to build up the right foundation. So that's something that I would get started on sooner rather than later. There's so many great resources in our academy. They're all free to help you figure out how to do that. What other questions do we have here? So any other questions that you have around marketing, around sales? If you have HubSpot specific questions, I will be sending out an email afterwards with this recording and more information. But I'm happy to answer a few more of those on, you know, in other channels. I hope that this session was helpful for you guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you got some actionable takeaways that you can use in your business. What else do we have here? Yep, I can absolutely send out the slides. Not a problem. I'll send out the slides, and I'll send you some other links to resources, including to develop your own persona if you don't already have it. And I'm going to give about 2 more minutes to get any other questions in here. Right now, this is your chance, guys. Live session, live Q&A. What do you got for me? Glad you enjoyed the session, Mark. What is for lunch? Yeah, great question. Well, right now, some juice. So even though I don't have my juice bar businesses anymore, I sold those off. I do make a lot of homemade juices. So I hope you guys are all getting ready for lunch as well. Databases that might be useful, or are they all industry specific? Databases for what necessarily? Are you looking for databases for to be able to source customers? What is it that you're looking for? And it looks like we have maybe a couple more questions in here. Okay. Slide from the buyer journey with all sorts of touch points along. There is so many. Yes, I absolutely do have a link to that slide. I think that it's important to know all the touch points along that journey. It just might look very different for different people. So I think that really just goes to like what are the segments that you are reaching out to, and figure out the buyer's journey for them, so you know where to invest. So by databases that might be useful or industry. Okay, so it sounds like you're looking for building out your persona. And correct me if I'm wrong if there's more information you want. So I would say a great place to start, if you're not entirely sure, is look at your competitors. Look at the competitors that are in the space that you want to be in. Who are they reaching out to? What is their marketing like? What is it, who is it that they are trying to target and reach out to? Who is it that you have seen that is responding to your early offers? Because that will help to see who's actually valuing it. But not only who is responding, but who's actually converting. Because you might have a lot of interest, but they may not be the people that are ready to convert. So I would start there. Depending on your industry, there might be some research you can do. There might be some blog posts around it. There might be white pages around it. You can start in those places, but just start somewhere and continue to refine it. Figure out who your buyer persona is, and also what is their process to be able to purchase. I'm glad that I was able to figure out what you're looking for there. All right, we're going to give just one more minute. Drop in the chat any other questions that you may have. All right, I'm glad that you enjoyed this this presentation. Thank you so much. All right, guys, it looks like we might be Q&A'd out. I hope that this was helpful for you guys. And we will talk soon. I will send around an email. Thank you so much for your participation. You've been awesome. Bye now.